Hello, everyone. I have a question for you. How long have you been saying eventually about something really important? So, this isn't a negative, it's reality. Welcome to another edition of Platinum Prime for Life, your show where Karen and I share tips, tricks, and life hacks that we use to live a Platinum Prime life. So today we're actually taking up something that's very important both to us and to you. And if you haven't realized it yet, we're going to talk about it. And that is putting off your dreams and saying, eventually, whatever. All right, Karen. So I want you to weigh in on just the subject of eventually I'll do this.
It started long time ago. Eventually I'll get my weight under control. That was the first one that was an eventually. It started at the age of 16. Yeah. So that was an eventually. Then
Okay.
eventually I'll write a book. Eventually. I've been talking about the book I'm writing now for, I don't know, 2 years. It is finished, but it's not ready. And so eventually I'll get healthy. Eventually, those are the big eventualities for me. Used to be eventually I'll become a singing sensation and people will know me, but that eventually I think has maybe it's not past me. I could be the oldest brand new jazz singer star. I don't know, but eventually it has been a
I like
killer,
that.
just a killer. How about you?
Well, here's the thing. So I've had different eventuallys over my life, and most of them I've actually hit. There are only a few that I haven't.
Mm.
And I'm fairly newly married, and so I've added some eventuallys to the life that my husband and I share. But I want to bring up something about the word eventually and your life. In our earlier show, we were talking about just getting older and what that means. And one of the things that really stands out is bit by bit, your lifetime circle of friends and acquaintances and famous people and so on that are contemporaries, that share the same sort of life area that you do. You're born, in our case, as baby boomers. It starts to shrink because for one reason or another, people aren't continuing to survive. So you've got a circle of friends that starts getting less. And for the first ones, you miss them. And then it's just like, oh, I don't want to hear this news, to, all right, eventually everyone will die, which is a sucky thought, but it's a true thought nonetheless. When those things continue on an increasing basis, you realize this is coming home and it's staring you right in the face.
Yeah,
And
I
that
think
your eventuallys need to be confronted as well.
I think about every other podcast that you and I have done. We do one a week. We've been over a year doing this. And
Yeah.
I would say that at least every other week, we have a mutual friend who has gone on.
Yeah.
It's a strange statistic that we have so many people that we've lost. We've lost so many this year.
Oh, yeah. Or we've lost so many who've actually passed on, but we also have friends that have health challenges that have just cut them off from whatever their earlier goals and dreams were. What was their bucket list? And I know on a few of them that are close personal friends, they can't do that anymore. So when we're talking about really looking at your eventuallys, And that would be your bucket list, right? The things like, well, I'm just putting this off, but I'm going to travel. I'm putting this off, but I want to do this training. We're talking to you. And the big areas that I've seen are travel, connect with your family more, finances, getting a slightly slower pace in life if you're like a go, 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 like Karen is. Karen, who her eventually is, in all honesty, because I've known her for a number of years, she makes them happen pretty fast,
Yeah,
faster
my
than
bucket list
others.
does not include slow down.
What is that? Yours does not include
My
slow down.
bucket
Yeah.
list doesn't have slow down in there.
No. Anyway, so, so we want to talk about that because when you kind of push the future off, that's really good, but you don't have any guarantees on what your future length is or what condition that future will be for you. Not only are things personal to you changing, but the entire world changes, and those you love and care about also are experiencing changes.
So it occurs to me, Linda, that the two things that you and I talk about the most, you talk about money and I talk about health.
Yeah.
And those are two areas where people I'll eventually start saving. No, you can't start saving eventually. You have to start saving now. And in your health, well, the top three reasons we have are heart attacks, strokes, and the one for over not obesity, but the consequence of obesity. What's the word I'm looking for?
Diabetes?
Diabetes. So you got these three things that are cutting people off from enjoying life. I mean, when
Right.
you have diabetes and they take your leg away, you're not going to go traveling. If you have a
And the other
stroke,
thing about health really is the older you get, the more you need to manage it.
yeah.
So it used to be what I call the old person disease, where old people would get together and they would talk about doctor's appointments and health conditions. Like, oh, did you hear that so and so just had a stroke? Or, oh, I've had to go in and get my this fixed and that. When you're younger and your body is producing a lot more energy on its own, you can sort of abuse how you're living, but you're actually robbing Peter to pay Paul, meaning you're actually creating situations in your body which aren't immediately evident that you will pay for and sometimes pay dearly for in the future. But you don't start really super worrying about it until you get older and you're like, oh my gosh, I have these situations that were caused by my earlier smoking too much, drinking too much, now not exercising enough. And Karen has dealt with and successfully handled many of those things in her own personal life to the point where she does have more energy than me on a day to day basis. She sleeps better than I do. She's probably can run around a lot longer than me because she noticed it and handled
So,
whatever it was that her personal situation was.
where things started turning around for me, I heard a quote from Robert Allen, the guy that helped me write the Nothing Down for Women book, and we were talking about real estate, and he said, "When is the best time to invest in properties?" 20 years ago is the best time to invest in properties. The second best time is today. So I
Mhm.
came up with this, and I posted this. I posted this today. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see what it says?
We be able to see it. Yeah, that's fine. Hold it just like that. You can read it out loud.
The best time to build your super senior life was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Nice.
So because I think I might have learned that from Robert Allen, is that okay, well, you didn't do it, but now you have the chance to start. Because I was 74 years old before I started on this health journey, and I was a mess. I was pre-diabetic. I was 101 pounds overweight. I looked like I was 18 months pregnant with triplets. it was not a good scene, and I was on a bad path.
Mhm.
And something clicked, and I guess that's what we're hoping, is that something about this conversation will click with you, because it has to be self-generated, right? It can't be somebody coming along and telling you, but maybe something will click and you'll go, "Oh, I didn't do it 20 years ago, but I could do it today. I could." I don't know. And for the health and for the money.
I hope so
About both.
too. So let's talk about why do smart people run on eventually? And
What's
I have
on?
some answers, funnily enough. So smart people who are ambitious, they're really looking at the future. They're very busy typically. They've achieved some success and they have responsibility for their life. So it's like, okay, I'm doing these things now to get to these different points in my life. And the result of doing that, pushing off bucket list items, is they've been rewarded for delaying that gratification. They made more money, they've made more contacts, whatever it is. And then that can become a habit where it's just like, okay, I'm doing this, and then I'll get to this stuff later. But what's worked for you earlier in life can actually work against you later in life if that's become your habit.
So say that again, and then give me some
Yeah.
sample.
Earlier in life, you've got a career, you've got a whole life that you have to create in front of you. So it's like you get very regimented, you have a whole system that you do, you push everything else out of the way so you can focus on success, responsibility, and goal achievement. And in exchange for focusing on success, responsibility, and goal achievement, you've achieved success and goal achievement because of that responsibility. And it becomes a habit. It's like that's how you run. You get up. What am I going to do today? What goal do I have? And I'll push these other things aside because they get in the way of how I've been successful up to this point. But I'm going to share something with you. And I shared it. Karen and I both did at the beginning of this episode, which is a lot of people miss the point that at a certain, we'll just say structure, a certain point in your life, usually around the age of 50, your time horizon has shifted. You don't have as much time to the end of your particular time. And typically, your energy level changes. You're not waking up with your body going like, yeah, let's go. You've got a family. You have to take care of all this stuff. And also, the older you get, the less options you have in front of you. Now, some people might refute that and say, hey, that's not true. I can do whatever I want. I can achieve whatever I want. And perhaps you can. Perhaps you are an outlier. But employers who are looking for an employee, if that's something you want to do, will hire based on one, experience, two, if they have to train you, how long are you able to be with them? And the older you are, the less you're going to be able to put in another 30 years for a company if they invest a lot in you. So that's on the employee side of things. And if you're talking about relationships, it's kind of like, do I want a new relationship because we're later in life and maybe I won't be able to hang out with this person too long, and maybe they have medical situations that are going on, and maybe I don't want to inherit those, being not from a nice viewpoint, but from a practical viewpoint of how does that future look? And then before I wanted to hike to the top of the Matterhorn, and now I just don't have the energy, or I'm just physically not able to do the things I wish I would have done when I was younger. So your energy level changes.
So I have this friend, his name is Werner Berger, and in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the oldest person to climb all the major peaks. And I think he's in his late 80s. He's probably closing in on 90, and he will hike the Matterhorn tomorrow. So he's like what you said, an outlier. There are these people who just carry on. One of my things that I always was one of my eventually lists was I wanted to be a gymnast. I know that being an Olympic gymnast is no longer realistic for me to think that I can make that happen. I don't think because they don't have senior and I'm not trained at it. So I think that's cut off, So you're right. There's certain things that do, but there are so many things that a senior could do that you couldn't do before. I can share my wisdom. I could never be a coach before. I hadn't lived enough life to be able to coach. I don't want to be a life coach, but I do want to be a health coach, and a senior coach. That's my thing, is coaching people how to get older better.
Yeah.
Longer.
So,
and I couldn't do that. So there might be that there's new opportunities that come when you get to be 82.
Sure, there are definitely opportunities, but the point is you have less opportunities today than you did 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So, yes, experience gives you an opportunity to share your experience, and experience gives you the opportunity to utilize that in whatever way you want to, whether it's for pleasure or financial gain or whatever. But paired with that is the energy that it takes to see a new endeavor through or a new project through. Yeah, my ex-husband and I used to buy and remodel homes. We would buy a home, get someone to tear things out, and then we'd go in and do all the work ourselves. Would I do that today? Heck no, because it would just wipe me out. So I'm willing to pay more to have someone else do it, and I can pay more to have someone else do it. But point being is this: you have eventualities, perhaps, almost everyone does, and you need to actually look at them. Some key areas, as Karen said, is your health. Eventually, I'll take care of my dental work. Eventually, I'm going to lose weight. Eventually, I'm going to handle my sleep. Eventually, I'll go to the doctor and get this checked out because it's bugging me. Don't. On your health, do not use the word eventually. Call Karen. On my side of things, what I've seen is people have amassed money. They've got a 401k. They've got money sitting there, and it's worked for them up to this point, but they haven't really looked at the future in a concrete manner. Like, what are my options? What's going on? What do I want to do with my finances to support the rest of my future? And putting off planning what your income's going to be when you're no longer willing to work or able to work. How are you going to sustain your life for the rest of your life? What happens if you have a medical situation that comes up that's unplanned? I mean, honestly, who plans for a serious medical situation? If you have insurance, especially long-term care insurance, health insurance, you've got, when you're older, you have Medicare. And if you can't financially support yourself, you have Medi-Cal, which means you have to get rid of a whole lot of assets, if you have any, before you qualify for that. But looking at it and knowing, what are my options, honestly? What are my options on creating an income stream from Social Security? When should I take it? Should I take it now? Should I wait a year? What makes sense? That's an eventually that financially you need to make a reality now. Figure it out. Again, you can reach out to me, and I have a lot of resources to help you in that area. Long-term care, we brought it up, but it's a situation where personally, I have some very close friends of mine. I've known them for many, many, many years. And one of the couple has some challenges, which right now can be managed at home. But if those challenges get worse, I don't think the other person in that relationship will be able to handle it well, because this particular person has a lot of energy and is running around, but isn't connecting all of the dots in the same way as the past, which means you've got someone who's taken off. And personally, if I was the spouse, I would have attention on, is my partner going to just run into trouble? So long-term care, what does that mean? That means there's a point where one or the other or both of you are not able to survive easily on your own. You need some sort of assistance to survive. It's really wonderful if you have a solution in place. And hey, if you never need to use it, that means you've done many, many things right, but you didn't have to have attention on it. So long-term care. And then taxes. You've amassed a lot of money. You're paying a lot in taxes, probably more than you need to, who knows? But it's have a conversation about it, and then how to intelligently sort things out so that you create future income and minimize your tax exposure. The cost of delaying these things is not just financial, but when you don't confront it and now you need it, you're going to have way fewer choices in the future. So address it now and honestly inform yourself, and then you know what your choices will be for your future.
I have a point and a question. The point
Okay.
is that I want to tell you is that I have a friend who has just made it very plainly clear that when they run out of money, they will run out of life. You have to kind of manage the two to match up, because when you get to a certain age and you've run out of money, what are you going to do? Well, my friend's solution is die. I don't think that's a really good solution. I don't like that solution. That's not a good solution. Anyway, with that being said, Linda, do you have an actual bucket list? Do you have something written that is your bucket list? I don't have a bucket list.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need a
So,
bucket, don't I? I don't have a bucket list.
what's funny is, so I've been married a little over 2 years now to someone. We're in the same age group and we've lived a very full life, both of us, but on different pathways, right? So we're together. We get along great. We have a lot of fun together. Planning is the interesting thing because we both have to sort of modify what our bucket list was in the past to jointly do things. And I happen to be the type of wife and partner where I'm very used to doing things with my husband, and it's just, and that's how he is as well. So it's not like, oh, well, I'll go over and climb the Matterhorn while you go over and do something else. No, we like doing things together. So, we're just having conversations where we're finding that middle ground on how to both do our bucket lists harmoniously. And it's fun. It's a fun plan.
That's
And
wild.
it's
Maybe
working
I
out.
need to put in having a life partner in my bucket list.
I think
I don't
we
know.
we should have a whole relationship episode. It's something that, is prominent for me and for most people. But
When we go to these senior homes to perform, I play music in the senior homes. It is 97% women
yeah,
because we live longer.
that's
So
right.
that's going to happen. So this whole thing about, and if you're a man in the senior home, you're like, oh man, you're a magnet. If you weren't a magnet in your younger days, enjoy it, because you'll be a magnet now, no matter.
But you wanna have long to enjoy it, but hey, that's that's like not on most men's bucket list to be the magnet in a senior home. Right.
to be the rooster in the senior hen house.
That's right. Okay, so the life version of eventually is travel, your lifestyle, your health. And a lot of times people put things off because they're waiting until some momentous situation has happened. Like, I will start a family at the point that I blah, right? Whatever that is. That used to be a thing when I was younger. I'm not going to have a family until rackety rack, and then they never had a family, or they got a surprise that they were going to have a family earlier than that. And then honestly, the starting a family part, I've never heard one complaint from a person who had unexpectedly started a family. It's kind of how this planet is set up, where each generation creates a future generation so that plants go on, mankind goes on, animals go on, and so forth. So it's sort of built into our DNA that we do want future progeny. I know you are not a mother, Karen, but you have mothered many people that I know of along the way. And so I'm sure some people feel that way about you.
So you would think that this would be common in the animal kingdom. I just watched an Academy Award-winning documentary called My Octopus Teacher, and it was about a fellow who actually befriended an actual octopus.
I saw that. I
Have you
didn't
seen?
see that feature, but I saw clips of that octopus where he
Oh
takes the
my
time.
God. Well, guess what? When octopuses breed, an octopus only lives about a year. And
Mm,
he stayed with this octopus for the whole year. And
mm.
at the very tail end, there was another big old boy octopus he saw, came into the den. They live in dens, and they mated, and she began giving her eggs, and they die. They give their eggs, and then they go off and die.
Yeah,
So
that sounds
that's not on
beautiful.
my bucket list or anybody's bucket list to have the progeny. I would not want to mate if that's what was going to happen.
Okay, well,
Oh,
thankfully, you're not an octopus. You're not gonna be a mother this lifetime, but
probably not. Probably
it's
not.
pretty much other people have taken up that slack. But it's actually a thing where waiting until everything's perfect, timing's perfect, and the older you get, the less waiting you should accept. Just do it. Just sit down
Yeah,
and figure it out.
really. Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
both Karen and I are really great to talk to because even if there's not a product or service that's a right fit for you, you're going to walk away feeling understood and with some information that will help you immediately.
Yeah.
So, again, you can reach out and talk to either of us, Karen for Health, or if you or someone you love is planning on how they're going to transition into downsizing and moving into senior care, talk to Karen. And me for looking at the future as far as finances, long term care, anything along those lines. What should I do with my stuff as far as financially so that I make sure that my children get it exactly the way I'd like to give it to them and not the government? So here's a reality check for you on those eventually things. Ask yourself, if not now, when exactly? And get a hard date on that. And then what would have to change for you to take immediate action? What would have to change in your life? And really look at that. Those answers are things that don't think about it, but actually take action on whatever you come up with
Yeah.
so that your eventually becomes now. Karen, would you like to say anything more?
I really love what you just said. And I think that My quote says the second best time is today. I think it should be the second best time is now.
The second best time is now.
And Nike really had it. Do it, just do it.
It's really true.
That was one of the best advertising slogans because it's just truth. Just do it. Yeah.
And what happens when you just do it? You set things in motion that create the future. You set things in motion that create the future, and the older you are, the more you want to really create that future that you want to step into. So give us a call or reach out, and we will be thinking about how to help you move eventually into now. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye.